Still working on the wiring. It's pretty straightforward. Got some of the connections done. I believe it's the yellow wire here that connects to a source, a 12-volt source. Don't remember exactly. Let's see, if you follow the manual, it's pretty straightforward. It looks easy compared to the main wiring harness. Let's see, it has a diagram on the back. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. Yeah, so that's the yellow wire. It's pretty short. So that's the only thing that I didn't really care for. The wire probably comes to about right here. So I had to add extra wire, which is this here. And I'm gonna connect it to the coil, negative side of the coil. And the pink wire goes to a 12-volt source. It has to be constant with the key in the on and when you turn the engine over as well. But right now, probably gotta take a different route or work on something else. I'm trying to figure out, the manual says to figure out the linkage first, and I don't think this is gonna work with my setup. This is the kickdown for the transmission. I have an FMX transmission, which I'm not a big fan of. And normally that's where that goes. But if I put it on, it's gonna be in the open, and it doesn't give it enough clearance. So when you shift, or when you try to pass someone, it shifts down. And it kicks it down and it shifts. So kind of thought about making a bracket, which I made all this to kind of make it or move it back some. And the more I thought about it, the less I like the idea, because if it gets caught on something, then it's gonna mess up your throttle. So I may just order something like a cable with the bracket to kind of make it work a little bit better. So for now I have that to worry about at a later time. And let's see what else. I have the wires that are gonna go down to the tank, to the fuel filter or the fuel pump and all that stuff down. I don't know where I'm gonna route it yet. I need to install the vacuum lines, which let's see, there's one there and two in the back. Another thing I need to figure out, not really too familiar with all the vacuum lines. I still left the canister here, which goes to that, and then it goes to the brake over there. So I don't know, I need to figure out how to clean this up some so I can install it on that. This is just kind of loosely on here. I need to still install the fuel lines that go from here to here, which I have. So with the wiring a little bit more, maybe jack up the car so I can crawl underneath there and kind of put the gas tank, which has been sitting there for a while. I know they sell a fuel tank that has the fuel pump in there. At the time I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, so I went ahead and ordered the original style gas tank. If for some reason that gives me trouble down the road, I'll go ahead and buy a different gas tank. So yeah, let's go ahead and open the parts and see what I got. This is the molding that I was mostly interested in. Is the goes in the front of the hood. This paint, I got the paint to match. So that one's right here. Here's the original. And I was going to use this. I even got it painted, but somebody drilled some holes because they couldn't get it out. And the problem with that is that I had no way of holding it or clipping it to the hood. And when you look at both of these, they look really similar. the size, slightly bigger, the aftermarket one. We'll see how that looks. Let's see. Just a tad, not much. The side's a little bit different. This one has that little notch here. This one's just straight across. And the one that I think is gonna give me some trouble is the actual little tabs. I didn't buy the hardware to install it because it had bad reviews, so I'm gonna research that a little bit more. See, this one kind of has like I don't know, like some kind of a groove for it to clip on, or looks like a screw or something, I don't know. And these are just flat or cylinder shape. They don't have any grooves on them at all. So before I paint this, I'm gonna put it in the car and see what it looks like. I should have gotten the hardware to go with it to see if it's gonna work. I'll figure something out as long as it fits, because I can't use this. Just don't like how it looks, and it's you can't weld it to cover it up either. It's kind of like a, I don't know, like a cast iron type thing. I'm sure you could Bondo it and stuff, or put some kind of a filler in there, but I don't want to do that. Gonna have to repaint it anyway, so just got the new one. I also got some new spark plugs for the engine. That way I can have new spark plugs whenever I do fire it up. The wires seem to be fairly new or in good shape. I'm pretty sure I'll eventually change that and I'll get new wires and stuff. I'm just not doing it right now. So alright, so I went ahead and checked this out, and it seems like I got everything. I got the little, I had to run to the store, hardware store, and get some screws for the little cap. It goes right there for the fuel, mechanical fuel pump. If I were to do it again, you could actually make one yourself. It looks really simple. I mean, this little cap's made out of aluminum. It doesn't cost a lot, but I have some metal laying around, so I could have just easily made some kind of cap myself out of just metal, put a gasket in it, and reuse the same bolts. I'm gonna remove this for good. So after I investigated some, I realized that I had the complete wrong idea of how this thing was gonna go back. So, let me get it out. I was thinking that it went like this, and I guess it probably could. But I was wondering how you would get the screws or the bolts back in there with this recessed like that. But it works so that you can reuse the factory stuff if you put it with the flat side up. So if I were to do it again, I'll just make my own. You wouldn't have to mess with all this, but this is my mistake. Did not know that it went like this and not like this. So I'm gonna clean that up. Put the gasket, it should work for the either side actually. I already have it made. Just like that. It's gonna seal around the edges. For some reason it leaks. I'll take it back apart, it's no big deal. And put some RTV or something, but this should do the trick. I'm gonna clean that up, put that on, and just kind of figure out what else to do. Probably won't be working on it much longer since I'm having some problems with the linkage there. So I need to go online and figure it out, or order a different cable or something, different setup to get that to work. My fuel rail is gonna hit the vacuum, this little vacuum section that splits here. So I can't get anything, you know, the fuel line in. So some people suggested to go with a spacer which I ordered, and I have it right here. This is a 1-inch spacer. I got it off of Amazon. If you just type in 1-inch spacer, you'll be able to find this. I was also having problems with the transmission kickdown, so I went ahead and ordered this these parts here. So I'm not sure if it really makes a difference, but for the FMX transmission that I have, it's a little bit different bracket than from the other transmission, so you have to be specific. This is the one that I have for mine. We'll see if it works. Hopefully it does. I also ordered the cable. This is probably going to be a little bit more complicated to install. The main thing that I want to focus on is seeing if I can have clearance for the spacer, with the spacer for the fuel line. This is the part number for the new cable for the transmission kickdown. This spacer came with 2 gaskets, and it also came with the hardware. Now I don't know if the hardware is going to work with what I have. So let's go ahead and test fit this and see where it takes us from here. Just for test fitting purposes, I'm gonna go ahead and just install it without removing those studs. Tight. Okay. Doesn't look like it's gonna, I mean, it's a little bit better. I think I'm gonna have to put the correct studs just to make sure it's in the correct spot. So let's go back and try to get these removed. And try to get that done the right way. Plus this is the wrong gasket that goes in there anyway. Okay, so I have some good news. I got the spacer with the correct studs on. Everything's loose right now, and I got the fuel rail installed as well. Everything, like I said, everything's really loose. This is just for testing purposes, locking everything up and just making sure the spacing is correct. So still need to go back and tighten these, which I will later on. So it looks like it's gonna work, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next thing. There's a lot to do. One of the problems that I'm thinking that I'm gonna have is, since it's raised an inch, I would like to put the same style air cleaner on here that connects to the ram air that's on the top. I believe this car came with the stuff for the ram air up here, so I'm eventually gonna get it and install it. So I have to make sure that it doesn't hit the hood with that 1-inch spacer. If anything, I'll probably go back down a size, and then I'll see if I can get a different adapter for here to maybe lay it down a little bit flatter, because the problem is this here keeps hitting, or it kept hitting this when it was lower. So by raising it an inch, it actually gave me the clearance I needed. But for now, this is good enough. So thinking about this more, thinking it's probably better to go ahead and put it where it's gonna stay at. And the reason why is because I need to install these brackets. This is the bracket that I got for the transmission kickdown, and it's actually installed here. So one problem that I'm seeing right off the bat is that the throttle is going to be in the way, this bracket here. I don't think it's going to be enough clearance, so I need to put these down how they go so I can see how much of a spacer maybe I can put in here to kind of raise it up some, maybe to about right there. And if I raise it to there, then it gives me enough clearance to run that cable that goes down to the transmission. This is just my guess. I don't know, because it also has this adjustable nut here. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna figure this out. Maybe get a completely different throttle cable to make it run a little bit a different direction, maybe look a little bit cleaner. All right, so I have everything installed with the proper gaskets. There's not much room to put a spacer on there, so I'm kind of stuck with this here. So hopefully this works. I did notice that you can adjust this to be forward or back some. So hopefully that gives me what I need. All right, so it kind of pays off to read the instructions first. I was thinking that the throttle cable, or I'm sorry, the kickdown cable goes on the top, but that's actually the throttle cable. The kickdown goes in the bottom with a little bracket that I still need to mount there, and then I need to mount the little bracket or for the cable down here. So since I have that spacer, I'm thinking I'm probably gonna have to go ahead and buy the throttle cable from same company, Low-Car, and then I can use the top portion and that bracket can be removed and it won't be in the way. So I guess for now I'll go ahead and install the cable and see how it looks. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go the route of purchasing the throttle cable though. So let's go ahead and install those little brackets that I need here, and then I can slide it underneath the car and figure out how to mount the bracket that goes down there to slide the cable out. Here's part of the instructions here. So I have to install this kickdown fitting here to the bottom of the carburetor or the fuel injection, which I'm guessing will be one of these holes here. And then I have to slide this wire out. And go ahead and mount that bracket, which is right here, to the bracket that I bought for the kickdown. Snug down. I'll need to install this bracket. We provide this Allen wrench. Alright, so the Allen wrench that they give you is not the right one for this. So this is a lot better. Okay, so I finally got that fitting, this little gray fitting done, the little bracket in the back for the kickdown. So the instructions say to tighten it down, but I'm not really sure where it's gonna live yet, so I'm gonna leave it as is for now. And the more I look at it, the more I'm realizing that I am gonna need that aftermarket cable, because there is no way this thing's gonna slide forward. So just another thing to do, another delay. So let's get to finishing installing that cable then. I'll have to crawl underneath the car and get some stuff done down there. So I already made an adjustment. This little teardrop here, which was mounted over here, actually goes over here behind this. And the spring gets mounted between this and this bracket back here. So it's no big deal. It has to be loosely, so you know, whenever you push the throttle and stuff, it can slide back and forth. So now I can finally go underneath the car and finish installing this. Okay, so I am underneath the car, obviously, and per the instructions, here's the bracket that has a kickdown, and this is the first screw past the bracket. So I need to install that little bracket for the wire on this, remove this and install that bracket there. and then that would slide forward up here and attach to this later. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. There's not much room underneath here, so I'll probably do it off camera. So I'm gonna remove that, install the proper bracket, and then see what it looks like, and I'll show you what that looks like after I'm done. Alright, so I got the bracket installed finally, and I did come across a few issues. The first issue that I had was that the instructions call for this little bracket here to be installed on the first screw past this kickdown bracket, which is this. So this is the one right underneath it, this is the next one, and that's where I originally put it, but it gave me the wrong angle to install that little flange here. So it kind of went like this, and then it had to turn the corner real fast, and I felt like it was gonna bind things up and it was gonna hit this right here. So I decided to move it to the furthest bolt that's on this pan, and it seems like it has enough clearance now to run smooth. It also kind of puts it in the angle versus being straight, and I think that's gonna work better for me. The other issue was this little piece here. The hole was a little bit too small to slide in here and to put the pin in, which I already have. So I had to get a step drill and drill it out a little bit to kind of make the hole a little bit bigger, and now everything seems to be fine. So really all I have left to do is just go back up to the top and hook it up and see if it works. Again, I will probably won't be able to test it, you know, to make sure it really works once the car is running, but I mean, you'll be able to see if this thing kicks down and once you have it in full throttle. But for now, pretty happy the way this looks, and we'll move up to the top and get that button up, and that'll be it for this. I think I finally got everything tightened up, working properly. I tightened up the bracket. I could still torque it down a little bit more. I just kind of wanted to see where I wanted it, so I can test everything out, and everything seems to be working fine. If I give it full throttle, I can see the lever down there moving. There's absolutely no slack, so I believe it's going to be adjusted just right. If for some reason I need to adjust it some, you can adjust it right here. But I won't really know until I get the throttle cable, the new one, in. So hopefully I can get that done soon. Another thing that I am thinking about doing is I think I'm gonna have to order the pump that goes in the gas tank. The one that came with the kit, you know, it goes outside, and from what I've read and heard, it's really noisy, and they also have a lot of issues. So I'm sure it'll work fine for a little bit, but I really don't want to have any issues with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and order the kit and install it inside the tank. It's actually not that bad. I believe it's like $248 for the pump that goes inside. I do have to do some cutting on the tank, but I think I know how I'm gonna do it, and I'll explain that once I actually get the part here. But other than that, I think I'm just gonna finish up the wiring and get everything done before I install the tank, and then I can kind of test everything out and see how it's gonna lay out. Kind of have a game plan for all the piping too, but we'll see once the time comes. I'm probably gonna go ahead and order that today, and hopefully it gets here soon so I can finish this thing up. So I went ahead and ordered the new throttle cable that I was talking about, and it actually came in pretty quick. Came in the next day, I believe, from Amazon. I did order the fuel pump that goes inside the gas tank as well. That is a little behind. It's back ordered till the end of the month or so, is what they said. But we'll see what happens, since everything is kind of crazy right now. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the throttle cable. Since they came in so quick, I was gonna go ahead and finish the wiring, but I'll go ahead and do the throttle cable so I can at least have one section of the install done. That bracket that's back there, I went ahead and made it. It's pretty close to what the original one looked like. Here's the original, and it has some kind of a gasket on there as well, which is right here. So I just made a template out of some paper and marked where the holes were at, and went ahead and made it, and it looks pretty close to what the original would look like, except I painted it. Here's the new throttle cable. I did not go with the low car cable because it's a little bit more than what I wanted to spend for it to not work properly. I think it will work. I think I found this one for a lot less. I want to say maybe it was under $30. So it's not a big deal if it doesn't work, and it looks, from the reviews that I read, pretty close to what the other one looks like. Don't know about the install yet. I kind of have an idea of how I'm going to do it, but having an idea and actually executing it's a completely different story. The thing that I don't like, and I don't know if the low-car one is like this, but there's this piece here that actually goes on the pedal. This is a universal cable, but mine, here's the original. So I don't know if this is modified since the car is so old, and a lot of the cars get modified throughout the years. But it has like this rubber washer on here, and then that keeps it on the foot pedal, and when you push on it, it kind of pulls out. But the thing was that it was covered in duct tape, so that's why I was wondering if it's original to the car. Thought about cutting it and putting it on this end here, and I also thought about maybe cutting this right here and then just lightening it in there, because I don't think I'll need this section here, so not really sure. So anyway, this side here is crimped, and this side here is what goes in that bracket I made in that middle hole. Ran the cable through there, everything fits perfect, and it's actually not that long. Went ahead and taped it. There's no instructions with this kit versus the low car one that does come with instructions, but I went ahead and wrapped it in some tape to kind of keep it from fraying, because I kind of have the length, and as you can see it's a little bit long. But what I wanted to do is have some play whenever the engine moves. So I went ahead and marked it with the tape, and then now what I have to do is just cut it with the Dremel tool, the cutoff wheel, gently, so the I don't cut too far in. Got the cable cut, and I think it went pretty well. The tape's kind of keeping from fraying it up. Went ahead and installed this piece on here. There's not much difference between the low car and the just the cheap one, generic one from Amazon. It actually fit in the bracket just right. And there is the cable. Like I said, it's probably too long, but I can always cut it later on. I'll probably leave it this length for now, and if for some reason I feel like it interferes with anything, then I'll go ahead and cut it. I could probably cut it about an inch or so and still be okay. Now I just kind of have to slip the throttle cable through there and get that test fitted, and also get it measured up so I can cut it. So as you can see, I got the cable ran and installed. Everything measures nicely. I could probably go in maybe just a tad, not much if anything, but when I step on it, it gives it, you know, full throttle, so it's engaged all the way. It came out pretty good, no complaints. I did when I cut the actual wire, I kind of tacked it a little bit so it doesn't fray up and make a mess and unwind. So probably a good idea to do that as well. So I have these two wires here. One's for the fan. Actually, they're both for the fans to control it from your unit inside. And what the plan is, I need to figure out how to neatly run it through here. And I have the stuff for the relays for the fans here. I made a little bracket to kind of keep it a little bit hidden, because here's where your windshield wiper fluid goes, and I didn't really have another area to put it at, so decided to put it there. I thought about putting it in the front too, but I didn't want to see a lot of wires. So now what I have to do is just kind of route the wires through the front somehow and tie it into the actual fans themselves. I know it doesn't look like it, but I actually have the wires ran. There's sniper wires, the green and the blue going through that. Then it comes down this and it goes up to where I have the relays right up here. That was not really that hard to run. Pretty much ran it like I said I was gonna run it. I have the blue wires from each relay that go to the fans, which are right there. And then the actual fans have black wires. Those are the ground wires, which I have them ran back up here to the ground. And then the white wire, that's actually your switch power, which I believe, if I remember correctly, is 86 on the relay. Let's see, red is obviously your constant power, or 12 volts, which I have it ran to wire up front that goes to the battery. And then 85, which I believe, let's see what color it is. I think it's the black wires that were coming out of this. Those are ran to the sniper EFI, the blue or the green. So since I got two relays, so I can run these separately. So I have one ran to one relay, the blue, and then the other green one to the other relay, so I can control the fan separately or together, depending on how I set it up inside, which I haven't done that yet. My next step is to clean up a little bit more of the wires. Here is the fuse and another relay for the sniper, which I made this little bracket, just a L bracket that I angle iron that I got from a scrap piece. Don't really want it to look too trashy, and once I paint it, I think it's gonna look a little bit better. So we'll see how that looks. Maybe eventually down the line I'll find a better place to secure it, but I think it's gonna work there, and I kind of like it there, so we'll see if we can make it work. So my plan now, this is the power, the ground, and the positive side to the battery. See if I can run it down this here and down to kind of make it look a little bit neater. I don't want to run the pipes yet until I get the fuel pump that's going to go in the tank, because I want to make sure that I have enough hose to come up here. And then once I'm pretty sure I have extra. Once I get all that tubed up and wired up, then I'll go ahead and run what I need up here. I just want to make sure I have enough. So I'm gonna keep working on this wiring. This pink wire here needs to have a switch power supply, and I originally had it to the ignition resistor, and they recommend not to do that, so I took it out, and I need to find a way inside the car to get power to it. I don't think there's a wire out here that's a clean source, but I'll look through the book and see. If not, I'm gonna have to go through the firewall somewhere, run it up to the ignition switch, and get power from there. I'm pretty sure the wire is not long enough either, so I'm gonna have to add some. Luckily with the quick wire kit, there's so much wire that they send, I'm sure I can find a pink wire somewhere to kind of make everything color match. whenever you're troubleshooting down the road and you have issues, you can quickly get to it and figure out what's going on. I got that pink wire ran to the inside, and actually the inside wire that goes to the ignition is pink as well, so everything matches. It's kind of hard to look in there, but hopefully it's gonna work. It's right there, and it's the red and green, I believe, this wire right here, and then it goes to pink right up here. So I have it running through the firewall back there, and hopefully that does it, because you do need a clean source to run that thing properly.